Captain's log, stardate 6169.3. While delivering supplies to outposts near Klingon and Romulan space, we received a distress signal from the Romulan neutral zone.
On screen, Captain.
This is Sub-Commander Guyon of the Warbird Infinitus. We are under attack. Assist us, please.
Transmission jammed at the source, sir. The transmission originated on the Romulan side of the neutral zone.
Captain, this could be a setup. The Romulans might be trying to lure us into a treaty violation.
We can't interfere in Romulan business. Take us to our next mission.
This is very tempting.
Set course, warp factor 8. I'm not going to ignore a distress call, even if it is a Romulan. We can't set course, warp factor 8. I'm not going to ignore a distress call, even if it is a Romulan.
We should probably help them out. We are nice people after all.
Captain's log supplemental. In answer to a distress signal, we are crossing the Romulan neutral zone in violation of treaty. We are approaching the source of the distress signal.
We are now entering the Romulan neutral zone.
Arming weapons.
Captain, a Romulan warbird is approaching toward us on an intercept course.
Hail it, Uber.
I have an audio response only.
So, now it is the Federation that tries to stop me from winning my prize.
Romulan ship is approaching on an attack vector.
Raising shields. Target analysis on. Captain, the shields are up.
Got him! Captain, 4 Romulan warbirds are on an intercept course.
We're being hailed. The commander wishes visual contact.
On screen.
This is Commander Starius of the Invictus.
Commander, we were responding.
Explanations are unnecessary, Captain. We thank you for your humanitarian response to the Infinitus distress signal, and we recognize that you destroyed the rogue warbird in self-defense. We will overlook violations of treaty this time.
How kind of you.
Captain, we have discovered a mutual threat, a race of beings that seems determined to manipulate a wide variety of life forms that call themselves the Brassica. If you have encountered them, it may be in both of our interests to exchange information.
Spock, transmit all we know about the Brassica to the Romulans. I've heard the name, but we know next to nothing about them. I don't think we can help you. Brassica? I've never heard of them. Spock, transmit all we know about the Brassica to the Romulans.
It might be best to claims some sort of ignorance at the moment.
I've heard the name, but we know next to nothing about them. I don't think we can help you.
Actually, this is true, because we do know of them, but we know very little.
Perhaps if you come across this information, we can share it. Please leave Romulan space as quickly as possible. The longer you stay, the more difficult it becomes to ignore this incident.
Understood, helmsman. Set course for Federation space. This day is not going well.
Captain, we have an emergency message from Starfleet. Code 1.
That's a planetary catastrophe.
On screen.
Captain, a very large alien ship is about to land on the planet Atibus in the Klingon neutral zone. The aliens stated that they intend to land in the midst of the capital city. Then the ship cut communications with us. Since then, all attempts to contact the alien craft have failed. You are the closest starship to Atibus. We want you to evaluate the situation and safeguard the colonists. We need you to make contact with the aliens.
Okay, that's no problem. Before we go there, though, let's research a couple of things. And one thing I noticed during that battle is, during the 25th anniversary, when you fight a ship that can cloak, there was a noticeable haze where you could follow the ship around. But this time, there wasn't any, which made it slightly more difficult. All in all, it was an easy battle, though.
Atibus, a small colony planet in the Klingon neutral zone near the Klingon border. Both Klingon and Federation ships are allowed in this entry as the Organian Treaty is in effect.
Okay, so we only had one entry.
Atibus is located in the Klingon neutral zone. The Federation won the colonization rights for that planet as per the Organian Peace Treaty. Both Federation and Klingon ships are allowed there.
Our orders are to proceed to the Atibus system.
Alien ship in sensor range. I detect one Klingon battlecruiser on a parallel course.
The Klingon commander is hailing us.
On screen.
Greetings, Enterprise. Welcome to Atibus. I am Captain Kla.
What are you doing here?
He's a handsome chap.
And I am Captain Kirk. Greetings yourself. I take it that this is not your vessel. And I am Captain Kirk. Greetings yourself.
I appreciate your courtesy, Captain. I wish to inform you that we mean the colonists no harm. You have my word that I intend to take no action against them. As you know, this is neutral space. I have as much right to be here as you. If you do not question this right, I believe that we are capable of bridging any misunderstandings that might arise in this delicate situation. I have always admired the Federation's diplomatic abilities. I believe we both have more important matters on our minds. Until later, Captain.
Well, it never rains, but pours. Mr. Sulu, take us into a parallel course with the alien ship.
Aye, aye, Captain.
Sensors appear to be experiencing malfunctions. Fascinating. Some anomalous readings are reoccurring. That would indicate that the ship itself is changing in unexpected ways. I have no explanation for the phenomenon. I have found at least one area that is suitable for transport.
No response from the alien ship, sir. Perhaps their communication system is malfunctioning? The Klingons regret that they are too busy to resume communications at this time.
Disarming weapons. Lowering shields, Captain.
Business as usual, then.
We're beaming aboard the alien vessel. Have Dr. McCoy meet us in the transporter room. Spock, come with me. Lieutenant Uhura, if its communication system is malfunctioning, then we'll need you.
Yes, Captain.
Mr. Scott, you have the comm.
wow. I'm very happy to have her along with us.
The sharp-eyed communications officer prepares herself for anything, her dark gaze watchful. The wise-looking science officer raises an eyebrow, wondering if there is some rational explanation for what appears to be quite irrational. Captain Kirk, proud leader of men and women braving the unknown reaches of space. He hopes to find the way to prevent this ship from landing on the Atibus colony town, and he's dubious about what he sees in this room. Although in some ways the epitome of the old-time country doctor, Dr. McCoy hasn't seen evidence of this kind of thing since med school. This person is staring at the surface of the table in front of him, blinking from time to time. His complexion is sallow and he seems tired. He never looks up, but occasionally flicks away a speck of dust from the otherwise spotless table. Grinagog watches everything, eyes shining brightly. His legs are pulled up off the floor and he hugs his knees. An enormous grin never leaves his face.
How did we know his name?
A potted plant. A table. A potted plant. A set of books. This seems pointless.
Yeah, it's getting that way.
A potted plant.
Okay.
I find the situation in this room disturbingly irrational at first impression, Captain. I suggest we endeavor to understand what we see around us in order to make a sensible analysis.
Captain, this place gives me the willies. I feel like I'm on a yellow alert without knowing why.
We have to find a way to help these people.
Captain, individuals on this ship appear to be suffering, perhaps from certain mental disorders. Were I to examine them, I might be able to determine something more.
Yeah, usually we use Spock and everything. But in this episode, I believe McCoy will be more useful. Well, Spock will still be useful.
This plant seems healthy, Jim. This plant seems healthy, Jim. Slightly undernourished, sluggish pulmonary and circulatory conditioning. Doesn't get nearly enough exercise, I'd say. Brainwave activity uneven. I'd need a battery of tests to be sure. This is a complete new race after all, but he may be suffering from some blood chemistry imbalances, likely to be affecting his mind. His mental activity is very high, but doesn't seem pathologic, Jim. Respiratory activity indicates a high degree of anxiety by comparison with others of his race. Now, that much stress is unhealthy if this is a chronic state.
Go away! You're breathing on my table.
I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. What's going on here? Who's in charge?
Nobody's really in charge. Maybe the phase. That's one of the things that makes me so nervous. Nobody's really in charge. I try to take charge of little things like making sure the lights work. I don't like the dark. Are you gonna be in charge now? Maybe you should talk to the phase first.
The phase? What's the phase? Why don't you just tell me what's going on here? If you need help, the Federation has many resources. Would you tell me about this ship? Why are you going to land in a town on Atibus? Why didn't you respond to our hail?
Something tells me that he's not gonna know this information.
The phase? What's the phase?
We contemplate our phase. Some of our people think they're the ones who keep everything going. Sometimes they tell us things to do. They remind some people when to eat. Otherwise, they'd forget. I don't forget, but that's because I'm smart. If you want to, you can probably talk to the phase in the oratory. The builders built the oratory. The room there to the south, they built the garden north. If you're hungry or if your head ain't feeling right, there's food and such in the hall. Through there, the west door. The rest hall is through the east door, but you might have to wait for one of the beds. The builders were just so logical. They thought of everything. You can go anywhere.
You know, Jim, I don't think there's much more he can tell us. I can take a tricorder reading on him if you think it's appropriate.
We've already done that.
I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. What's going on here? Who's in charge?
Nobody's really in charge.
Phase, why don't you just tell me what's going on here? If you need help, the Federation has many resources.
We've been doing fine for 1,000 generations, Captain, maybe more. We're happy here, just waiting for the ship to return to the builders. that's the promised time when we come home. We don't need any help.
Who are the builders? Let's get back to the main subject. Maybe you can tell me about your people. Who are the builders?
The builders are the builders, of course. Us, but a long time ago. The Phase can explain it better. I get confused sometimes. The builders built the oratory. The room there to the south, they built the garden north.
You know, Jim,
I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. What's going on here? Who's in charge?
Nobody's really in charge.
Phase, why don't you just tell me what's going on here?
We've been doing fine.
Who are the builders? Let's get back to the main subject. Maybe you can tell me about your people.
You know, these other folks can be a little peculiar. You know, a few bricks shy of a load. Not all of us are, but the ones who are really make me nervous. Can't ever be sure how they're going to act. That's why I stay in a room like this most of the time. I'm safe here.
You know, Jim, I don't think...
I'm Captain James...
Nobody's really in charge.
Phase? Why don't you just tell me...
We've been doing fine.
Who are the... Let's get back to the main subject. Maybe you can tell me about your people.
You know, these other folks can...
You know, Jim...
Okay. We're not getting much information out of this guy, but he's been quite helpful so far.
I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. What's going on here? Who's in charge?
Nobody's really in charge.
Faye, would you tell me about this ship? Why are you going to land in a town on Atavus? Why didn't you respond to our hail?
We're going to land? Has the promised time come? I have to think about this. Please don't bother me anymore.
Okay.
Save new game. The alert lieutenant thinks those living here have made at least half-hearted attempts to put their personal stamp on their living space. Difficult, starting from institutionalized beginnings. The wise-looking Vulcan raises an eyebrow. Bones thinks the youngster probably needs to get out more. Captain Kirk is not impressed with the housekeeping skills of the people living in this room. A youngster is sitting alone, quietly playing. A narrow bed, a bit mussed up. It looks as much like a place for enforced cryosleep during a long space flight as a place to sleep for the night. A simple sliding door of reasonable dimensions for a person to walk through.
As institutionalized as this room appears, Captain, you can see people have done a few things to make it more their own. I wouldn't be surprised if people stash trinkets away, things that have use and meaning to no one but them. Then again, I am definitely not going to suggest we go looking. Some of these beds don't appear to have been changed in longer than I want to think about. However, if someone wants to show us one of their little treasure boxes, I'll bet it's been well hidden.
I believe this room shows that this was in fact a sleeper ship, Captain. Notice the beds. They appear to be in general use now, but show every evidence of being cryo-sleep pods initially.
I think the youngster looks a little wan, either from lack of the right foods or insufficient exercise, and there don't seem to be others his age he could pal around with.
The sleeper ship. Is there a more primitive way to achieve star travel?
There are generation ships, Captain. Although I hesitate to engage in speculation, these people might have been the descendants of the original passengers, not the passengers themselves.
Given what I've seen, Spock, I don't think they'd survive as a generation ship. I'm surprised they've survived as long as they have.
An astute observation, Doctor. I am impressed. impressed.
As much as I hate to break up this newly formed Mutual Admiration Society, we have work to do.
This individual is a juvenile in good condition, although mildly undernourished. There's no immediate danger, but there's some traits that should be watched. He's healthy now, both mentally and physically, but he's at some risk if he's put under too much stress.
Okay, it seems like some of the dialogue in this game is slightly ad-libbed.
Hi there, I'm Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. Who are you?
I'm Stan Bob. Did my mom say I could talk to you?
Why, yes, she did. What can you tell us about things going on here? No, not exactly. We'd like to know what you can tell us about things going on here, though. I don't know that we've seen your mother. Still, if you can tell us something about what's going on here, we would appreciate knowing it. Why, yes, she did. What can you tell us about things going on here?
I don't think my mom would want me to talk to you. Please go away and stop bothering me.
Hi there, remember me?
I don't think I should talk to you.
Whoops.
Get back! I don't recognize you, you strangers! Rackaback, Gormagon, you recognize these people?
No, Tusken, we sure don't.
Keep them away. Keep them away from me. They'll hurt us. They're out to get us, I tell you. Have I ever been wrong?
No, Tusken, you kept us safe, and we keep you safe. We won't let them get you.
You people don't want to come any closer. Honest, I don't want to have to hurt any of you. It's just that Tusken won't like it. I hope you don't mind, but you really have got to stay back.
Protect me. They're after me.
We'll hurt you, so just stay back.
We really don't want to hurt you, you know, but you gotta stay back.
The tricorder informs me that the Klingon boarding crew has just beamed into the adjacent room, Captain.
You are Kirk. I am Kla, Captain of the Paul-Ya. This is my aide.
These Klingons are so innovative in their introductions.
Shh! I'm Captain James T. Kirk, commanding the USS Enterprise. These are my crew, Science Officer Spock, Lieutenant Uhura, and Dr. McCoy. What can I do for you, Captain Clark?
You can avoid interfering with me or my man as we look around the ship, the same as you. And with the same air of mutual goodwill, we will avoid interfering with your activities. Unless we have cause to think your actions in some way threaten us or the Empire we represent.
We do not threaten the Klingon Empire, Captain Clark, nor its legitimate representatives.
Then there will be no difficulties between us, will there? We will leave you to your investigations now and carry on our own. You won't mind if we're in the room, will you?
We'd consider it a mark of our mutual respect, Captain, if you don't get in our way and we won't get in yours.
Okay, that was two rather random encounters in one.
Dr. McCoy thinks that this room doesn't look like a very good place to kick back and relax, especially under the present circumstances. The lieutenant is making judgments about the other individuals in the room, finding some threatening and others interesting.
I wonder which she thinks is which.
Mr. Spock raises an eyebrow upon seeing this room is equipped with a 3D chess set, but quickly draws his attention back to matters at hand. The captain seems most concerned with watching all the individuals in this room to be prepared for how they might react.
You like chess? Any good? Jakesy's a whiz at it, even though he's pretty slow about everything else. My brother Rackaback took away his stuffed bear. Jakesy won't come in here to play no more. This is my greatest game ever. I'll give you the bear if you can beat me.
Yeah, you can have the dumb bear if you beat my brother at chess, and if you don't cheat.
A fuzzy animal-shaped toy that looks a bit like a bear. Rackaback is a large individual with a somewhat dull-minded expression, but wary and distrustful. he bears a strong familial resemblance to Gormagon, who is standing close by. Gormagon is a large person with a slightly cowed and uneasy expression. He bears a strong familial resemblance to Rakabak, but gives the impression of somewhat more intelligence. An overturned toy box. A pillow. Tuscan is a rather mangy-looking individual of middle age. His hair is wildly disordered and his eyes wide and wary. He seems skittish and likely to burst into flight or fight mode at the smallest incentive. This appears to be an unusual metallic structure. A dumbbell, a device used for muscular development. A room which appears to be dedicated to leisure and recreational activities. At least that's what you can see past the crowd of people. Pieces of wood and plastic. They were originally part of a toy.
I must admit I've met friendlier people, Bones.
Drug therapy. Primitive 21st century medicine. The people who built this ship must have thought that filling a person's bloodstream with chemicals could solve every medical problem.
Captain, that chess game is fascinating.
Captain Tuscan bullies everyone. I think he's afraid of everyone, and that includes us. We should find a way to calm him down, I think. There must be some practical way. Perhaps we just need to see how he reacts to things, and then we can make a plan.
This Tuscan seems paranoid, trying to control everything. He's got a great fear of anyone fooling around with his mind. If he were a crew member, I'd suggest tranquilizers and a lot of examinations.
Maybe soon.
Like so many others aboard this ship, he's the victim of developmental genetic damage. A chromosomal misalignment induces a greater inclination to violence. I wouldn't feel confident enough to treat him medically without the full database of the Enterprise systems. Gormagon is one of the healthier individuals on this ship. Except for emotional stress, probably the result of being bullied by his buddies here. He's reasonably sound in mind and body. If I had to, I'd feel confident about treating him medically. Jim, he has fairly extensive brain damage and may be causing paranoid delusions. It's also resulting in increased levels of hostility. His adrenaline levels run quite high, and there's been organ damage from the extreme stress.
I'm more interested in a good fight than in talking.
I listened to my brother Rakabak and to my friend Tuscan. They say we have to protect this room and keep anyone from getting into it. Tuscan's afraid.
Watch what you say, Gormagon. You know I trust you.
He's just afraid, that's all.
I don't care who you say you are. You're evil monsters in disguise. You want to get by me and the only people I can trust. You want to get into the back of my brain. You want to rewire me and change the way I think. Go away. Go away! Go away! Or we'll hurt you and make you go away.
Okay. Let's try and resolve the situation.
A complex situation. However, check and mate.
How'd you do that? He cheated you, brother. He must have cheated you.
No, that's a legal move. Here, take the bear. I promised, and I do what I say.
I think it's a dumb game. That's what I think of this game. I think it's a dumb game. That's what I think of this game.
What a lovely fellow.
The chess game has been scattered across the floor and the board broken.
I listened to my brother Rakabak and...
Watch what you say, guys.
Okay. There's more of the ship to explore. Let's go.